Welcome to the broadcast for the Harbus News Network. I'm Bart Clareman. Joining me today are two very distinguished guests, Sarah Arora and Jordan Straybeck. They are the two newly elected SA co-presidents for the class of 2014. Congratulations on your win, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
So, just quick little background on both. Sarah is a 2009 graduate of Stanford University, where she studied engineering and biology. Prior to HBS, she worked at McKinsey, and before that, Kleiner Perkins. She also served as a consultant for TechnoServe. Jordan is a 2008 graduate of Texas Tech University, where he studied economics. Prior to HBS, he worked in the Office of the Chancellor at Texas Tech. We want to begin by asking you what your priorities are for the year ahead in your term as SA co-presidents.
Sure. Yeah, so I can start with the first kind of large platform, which is around accessibility and affordability. Mm-hmm. So one thing we're really trying to do next year is to bring more events on campus to, number one, make them more accessible, mm-hmm. and then number two, to actually make it a more affordable experience for all. So what that includes is having more outside sponsorship and having more events that actually don't cost anything at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing that we focused on in addition to accessibility and affordability was kind of continuing what Laura and Kunal did in terms of culture and community on campus. And so we want to expand some of the things that they kind of started the ball rolling on, like TGIFs, extending those through the year, making better use of the grill to kind of make that a communal hub for activity on campus. Things like that, all the way to placing maybe a little more coordinated emphasis on community service next year. Mm-hmm. Maybe integrating that into Field 2. There are some different things that we feel like we can strengthen and kind of enrich the entire HBS experience
right.
in that vein as well.
So there's a lot in there. So start with the first one, with the events, the sort of events perhaps that you'd like to bring to campus. Is there anything this year that you felt was kind of a good template for the sort of event that that you thought was very popular, that you'd like to do more of, bring more of to HBS next year?
Yeah, so we both love the idea of Trivia Night for two reasons. First of all, it's incredibly accessible and affordable because it doesn't cost anything at all. I think the second part of it is that it taps into a completely different social network that is not always the best served at HBS. Mm-hmm. The people who don't necessarily want to go to the white party or even some of those people wouldn't even want to go to Holodazzle because the cost is so prohibitive, and it gives them a social outlet to connect with people that perhaps are outside their section, and so that's something in particular that we were excited about and hope to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you can make things on campus that are both easy for people to get to from a transportation standpoint and kind of convenient to stop by, it doesn't necessarily have to be like an event where there's like an agenda that the SA is carrying out. Like, it can just be, a college football Saturday where there's college football going on down there, and maybe there's some things like that, watching the Man City game or what, like things like that. And then the other aspect of it on the affordability and accessibility side that Sarah kind of alluded to is we want to put a really strong emphasis on outside fundraising and increasing sponsorship and development, because we want to not only make events that are existing like Holodazzle, Newport, EC Forum, whatever it is, more affordable, and we feel like we can do that if we can raise some outside funds to do that. But also it really enriches our ability to add additional programming and kind of continue what Laura and Kunal did in terms of reimagining public spaces on campus. And that's
right. I mean, as far as pursuing partnerships or sponsorships, I mean, is that something where the two of you would kind of tackle that responsibility, or is there a team that you would be able to kind of assemble in order to, make those things happen? How do you?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's a very relevant question for Jordan and I right now because we're in the process of building our executive team.
Okay.
So right now we rejiggered the org chart a little bit. We've kind of put out the job descriptions, and this year we are actually having 2 chief development officers dedicated to this particular activity. Mm-hmm. So those people, and we're looking for people who are ready to just hit the pavement and talk to and reach out to kind of every connection that they have, every connection that we have, to really bring in money. Jordan and I will absolutely be supporting in that role from a contacts perspective, also just from a general efforts perspective, but we are hoping that we have 2 really strong CDOs who are ready to take that and run with it.
Yeah, if you look a couple years back, I think in maybe like 2008, the SA raised closer to like $100,000 in outside sponsorships, and that's dropped steadily, and perked back up a little bit this year with the current officer team, but it had dropped, I think, at one point to about $30,000, $35,000 on a $1.2 million budget. And so I think after talking to the current officer team, and we're going to kind of continue to try to pick their brains about what we can improve on and that sort of things. But I think one part of it is us having some more time hopefully to focus on that, and two, expanding adding that second chief development officer to really put a priority, an emphasis on that.
Yeah.
Tell us about the conversations you've had with Laura Cannell, other officers this year. What have you learned from them, and and what work do you sort of see that they've begun that you want to continue?
So I think Laura and Kunal had a big influence on both of our decisions to be interested in pursuing this position. First of all, Kunal was last year. He's the new, the OJ president, and I'm the new J president. And so he was kind of holding my hand throughout, throughout the beginnings of that, and some of those conversations led into more conversations about the SA and that sort of thing. And I think what struck me, and I think Sarah too, although I'll let you kind of elaborate on your own end, is the things that they had done that we didn't really know that they had done, like as RCs. Like, for instance, we've mentioned this a bunch, but the lawn furniture that's out there on Spangler Lawn, like our class by and large doesn't know that wasn't always out there.
Yeah, and I've told this now. I mean, it made a huge difference on student life. It's such a small, kind of subtle thing, but it really, I mean, it's so nice on a nice day to see so many people out there on the lawn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I think that was, in a nutshell, but that's symbolic of a greater. I mean, I think they've done so much behind the scenes and laid so much groundwork that our class and future classes will probably never appreciate, honestly, but that was kind of part of what inspired us to get in.
Yeah, and as we kind of continue to meet with them and meet with their executive team, I mean, talk about even more unsung heroes. I mean, they have an incredibly rock star executive team of people who I'm guessing many people on campus don't even know, but people like Atul, people like Liz Kolchak, who have really dedicated their entire EC year to being trailblazers around Holodazzle, around bringing more events to campus. And so I think that's been really eye-opening for us, and it has put even more pressure on us to find just amazing people for our exec team.
Yeah. There are good parts, there are good things and bad things about following such a rock star duo. We're grateful because they really set a good example, but we're also, they left us some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
So,
Why did you want this? Why did you want to be SA co-presidents?
Go ahead.
Well, I think, it has a lot to do with the last question that we answered, in my opinion, because I think, seeing what Laura and Kunal were able to do and the impact they were able to make, I think was kind of inspiring to both of us. But, on a more section-focused level, just seeing the impact that, being in section leadership, the impact that you're able to have on a section, and really the impact, more importantly, I guess, that my section had on me. It was just a really rewarding experience. And Sarah and I both had phenomenal experiences our first, semester, and however much in the second semester at HBS.
Right.
And I think we felt like it was this was an opportunity to step up and kind of hopefully perpetuate that for others. And those that haven't maybe had as great experience, try to figure out how to change that in the future, and those that have had a great experience so far, how can we make that better?
Right.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Something that Jordan and I aligned on really early when we were even talking about running together was the fact that we both feel like we get a lot more out of a given experience if we're serving the community that we're kind of having that experience in. And so for me personally, there were kind of two ways I could go next year. I had ideas about maybe starting a business, or and HBS has so much to offer, and we are paying quite a bit to take advantage of the opportunities that they offer. But what it came down to for us is, if we were to really maximize our experience here and get the most out of it, we knew that we had to do that in a way that we were giving back, and so I think that is a common philosophy that I think has pulled us through the minor differences that we've even come across now. So